Welcome to a special edition of the Local Show here, guys. Our annual Christmas celebration. So excited, so honored. I can barely contain myself. It's like Santa has arrived here. We've got John Oates back in the house. Welcome back, buddy. Good to see you.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much for being here.
I've been compared to a lot of things. I haven't been compared to Santa lately, but so I appreciate that.
Well, you are delivering gifts, my friend.
I am.
You are wearing red. You know.
Well, no, I did. I picked this shirt on purpose. I said, I've
got it going on.
got to represent the holiday a little bit. So.
So this is a gift. In all seriousness, I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
you just got back to Aspen when?
Yeah, a few days ago.
A few days ago.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Have you been out on the skis yet, or any winter?
I made one attempt to go to the golf course, and I skied a little bit.
Okay.
Just to see how I felt, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm all right.
Yeah, this is still obviously acclimating and feeling. I mean, that's full body action, skating.
That's
probably one of the hardest things to do right off the bat.
You know what? I do it for fitness. It's the greatest thing for fitness for me.
Right.
So.
What do you like to do, like, say, prepping to come to, or just your kind of normal fitness routine when you're in Nashville?
I work out all the time.
Okay.
I'm always, even in Nashville, we have amazing hiking trails, literally a mile from my house.
Sweet.
Amazing. Hundreds of acres of park with these great trails, and so I'm always out there doing my thing. I ride my bike. I try to stay fit.
So who are these big dogs? Like I plucked an image off your Facebook.
Oh.
Of the big. I think they look like Great Danes. Were you out for a hike with those guys? Or
In Hawaii.
Oh, okay,
They belong to a friend of mine.
Okay.
And we went for a hike, and he said, "Here, hold the dogs." I was like, "Okay." So, yeah.
And then he shot a quick
they're not
picture of you.
they're not my dogs.
Okay, I was wondering,
Look closely. We're in a bamboo forest, so you can tell it wasn't Aspen. It wasn't Nashville either.
Okay. So. Yeah, the big dogs and the bamboo. I was like, I don't know if that's. I don't think he has dogs.
No, that was
either.
Hawaii for sure.
So do you guys have pet? I mean, you have.
No, we used to have tons of animals, but because we've been in Nashville and going back and forth, we really couldn't take care of them. We've adopted a lot of them out. A bunch of them are at T Lazy 7.
Oh, nice.
So if you go by T Lazy 7, you see the llama, the alpacas.
Yeah, I always say hi to those
and
guys.
The emus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all ours.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Do those dudes have names at all? Did you name
Amy
them?
had them named. I can't remember. They.
I just call the one Lemu Emu, from the Liberty
sure,
Mutual ad. I go, Lemu Emu, when I go by on my bike.
Emus don't really answer to anything, so that's okay. You can call him whatever you want.
He never seems to respond, but
No,
I don't take it personally.
Doesn't surprise me.
So good, because I've got some local eggs for you if you make it through this grueling test of songs and stories.
Okay. All right. That's my reward.
I don't think he has chickens
That's
anymore.
my reward, the fresh eggs.
Well, it's part of it.
There's more in there.
Yeah, there's more.
I know.
There's much more, and my cookies are in there.
The cookies are what I came for.
Like I coached you before the show, if you have a bonk, if you're like running low after all this intense talk and singing, bust into these cookies. They're in a new bio wrap.
Okay, very nice.
It's called Give a Damn. Actually, it's called Give a Damn Wrap.
Okay.
Because you care about the environment.
So it's biodegradable. Very good.
It's all compostable action.
And I'm not worried about it because they won't last long in that wrapper.
That's probably not.
Because I'll just eat them.
So there's not going to be an issue of freshness or anything like that.
No.
But I'm so excited to have you here. Now, one of the major questions, when you get back to Woody Creek, I know you have this kind of like magnetic draw, literally, to this tractor. Can you tell people who didn't see you last time on the show a little bit about your affection for John Deere?
Well, I bought that John Deere tractor when we built our house back in the early '90s, and we had some land, and I was doing fences, and that John Deere tractor is one of the best things I ever bought. It starts up every time. I sound like an ad, right? But honestly, that tractor saved our house.
Really?
Back in the early '90s, after we built the house, we weren't sure if we were going to stay in the valley. So we put the house up for sale, and we had a buyer, and they were interested in buying the house, and we were under contract, and we took it all the way till the 11th hour, and at the 11th hour, the buyer said, "We want you to throw in the tractor." And I said, "No." And we didn't sell the house, and it was the greatest thing that ever happened to us.
It was like a deal breaker.
The John Deere tractor saved our house, so yeah.
Is it wild?
So that's why I love the tractor so much.
That guy took it one step too far, clearly. Going for the tractor was like just turned the whole situation upside down.
No, in fact, since I'm very familiar with driving a tractor, a friend of mine at a race track out in California was doing a Porsche tractor race and asked me to drive their Porsche tractor because they had seen me driving, pictures and videos of me driving the John Deere.
Oh my
so I got to drive a Porsche tractor on a racetrack.
Oh my God.
So I was the designated tractor driver.
That is a
Yeah.
riot.
Oh, I love it.
That's a riot. And also kind of related is you had an appearance on Jay Leno's Garage.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a bit of a motorhead too, so.
So
Yeah.
could you just tell us a little story about that?
Well,
That must have been incredible.
along with this amazing guy in California named Rod Emery, we built a 1960 Porsche a Cabriolet, but we built it. Well, he built it from the ground up, and we collaborated on it. And it's a really, really special, unique car. And so Jay Leno wanted to feature it, so we shipped it out to California, and Jay and I drove around. We had the greatest time. He is very cool. He gave me a personal tour of his garage, which is off the charts. It's incredible.
Must be unbelievable.
And the whole time we were in the car, we talked about comedy. I was asking him how he writes his stuff, and it was great. He's awesome.
I saw a little bit of a clip, but I mean, is he as funny
Yeah.
as like you think
Yeah,
he
he's
is?
funny. He's
like
funny.
he's just naturally funny.
He's just very chill and very cool, and he loves his cars, So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I used to come in my early talk show days. I used to compare myself as a skinny Jay Leno just because of the chin.
But you didn't have the white thing on the top of your,
No, I mean, I guess I need a little more stress in my life.
Yeah, you do.
But no, he's him and Johnny Carson. I mean, those guys are like, and now Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Those are the talk show
Well,
role
actually,
models. for me.
Daryl and I were on the Tonight Show both with Johnny Carson, once with Johnny Carson,
Oh my
and
gosh.
once with Jay Leno. So yeah.
What about Jimmy Fallon?
I was
in
on
more recent years.
I was on with Jimmy Fallon as well.
Okay, so that's longevity. You
Yeah.
went through Carson, Leno,
Yeah.
and Fallon.
I'll tell you, being on the
That's
Tonight
insane.
Show with Johnny Carson, though, that was a trip, because you'd seen him so much on TV. Then you're sitting on that couch,
Oh my gosh.
and he's doing the thing with the pencil and the coffee mug, and it was weird. It was very unrealistic, but I was really glad that we had the opportunity to do that.
Surreal moment, and
Yeah.
he's smoking cigarettes back then in the whole bit.
Yeah, he
that
he
was,
was
like,
he
part
was,
of the thing.
He was very personable, and it was great. And as soon as commercial came, he just kind of shut his eyes and rested. And then the moment the commercial came back, he was on.
Johnny.
It was very cool.
He was a really
Yeah.
interesting character, I guess.
Yeah.
Like he was pretty deep. He had some stuff going on. I don't know if he was like. Jay seems like he's more funny kind of all the time. Johnny seemed to turn it off and on, and Johnny seemed to
That's
even
the way
have
it
a
seemed
little
to me.
dark.
That's the way it
side
seemed to
him.
me. Yeah.
He was a little different guy, but those are some of my role model guys.
I'm
And-
just glad I had the opportunity to do things like that in my life and career.
Well, we're going to talk about maybe some of your role models when we come back from break.
All right, sure.
But first, we're going to go to our one break. We're going to do a little hydrating
Okay.
when we go away. But I do want to thank our winter underwriters for making shows like this with John Oates, 1 hour Christmas special possible. We have Gonzo Nation. I want to thank my friend Anita Thompson. Haiti Children. We had Susie Kraybacher on last week. They raised $50,000 from that show already. I'm so excited about that. Chris Klug and the Chris Klug Foundation recently competed in their Summit for Life event, another great fundraiser for organ donorship. Highlands Ale House hosted Kevin Joseph 2 weeks ago. You guys stop by Highlands Ale House at the base of Highlands, the local spot where you can actually hang out, be comfortable, have fun. Sundog Athletics, Obermeyer, which I sport all the way up to today. This is my special once-a-year Dale of Norway. I bust out the Norwegian sweater, but I want to thank Klaus, who kicked off our series. Sundog Athletics and Picken County Landfill, near and dear to my heart. Guys, we're going to take our only break. We'll be back in 2 minutes with John Oates, live music, stories, and so much more. Christmas spirit, and don't go away. Merry Christmas, guys, and happy holidays here from us at the local show. And GrassRoots TV, guys, next year is going to be our 50th anniversary, and we're going to prep you for that as we move forward into the new year. But I want to give you my best and warmest wishes for a happy holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and I wish you a Merry Christmas, John. And
Thank
how
you.
about since this is like a Christmas holiday show, going back in time when you were a little kid, is there like a memory? I know for me, one of the big ones was when I came out to the tree and there were skis, my first pair of pair of white wooden skis, and I was like, oh wow. And my brothers got burned with like lower level presents, which made it even better for me. But we were fighting over the skis. But is there like a memory like from childhood Christmas that comes to mind?
Yeah, when I was really, really little, one of the first memories I have of Christmas was I got a drum set, and it was, but it was a little kiddie drum set, and I was really young, I was probably 4.
Wow.
I remember as soon as I hit it, the sticks went through the paper head.
Oh, no.
The heads were made out of paper. And
no.
that was it. So I broke it within, probably 10 seconds of hitting it for the first time. So that was one of my memories. But I just love the fact that I got to spend the Christmas, all the Christmases with my folks and with my wife's folks and my son, and that's what it's all about. So,
Yeah. What were some of those traditions? Like for us, we'd open a gift the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the next morning we came down. It was just shred
Right.
fast and paper
Right.
flying. And do you remember some of those traditions that you guys maybe unique to your family?
When I was really young, we would always spend Christmas with my grandmother, my Italian grandmother, and she would always make lasagna. And awesome. Because I was the first boy in the family, the first grandson in the family, I was the only one allowed in the kitchen. So she would, I would sit there and she would give me meatballs and she would treat me like a king. So our tradition is we make lasagna every Christmas.
No, that is unique.
Yeah.
Got that Italian heritage there.
Yeah,
so I was the oldest of the grandkids.
Yep.
But for me, I got to go into the kitchen during Thanksgiving and make the gravy.
Oh, okay.
And they
see?
trained me to be the gravy guy after a while.
Well, when
so
you're
you
the
take
first-
that bird out of the pan, and then you start mixing in the Wondra right into those dripping. Oh,
When you're the first grandson in a family, you get kind of special treatment.
you do. First one to graduate to the adults table, too.
That's right.
From the kids' table to
There
the
you go.
adults
There you
table.
go. Yep.
All those fun things. And then I do remember the Christmas that I came down for a bike. And it was like a red, shiny bike.
Oh, there you go.
Single speed, little kid's bike. But some of those things. And then all of a sudden, later on, fast forwarding however many, 50, 60 years, for me, I'm 60 now.
And you're still waiting for that bike.
Well, I still love it. It's like I get that stoke from that. Now, I'm not getting people giving me bikes anymore so much, but still that excitement, that you can take all the way back to the origin of when you first got a bike, when you first got skis. And then all of a sudden you think, what can that lead to? Like now you're a dad, and what's a special memory like from Christmas since you've been a dad and you've got a son? And like, is there something that comes to mind that was like a really fun moment that you saw?
It just happened about 48 hours ago.
Really?
Yeah, he talked me into going to Glenwood and buying a side-by-side ATV.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's our Christmas present to each other.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Super. So side by side, so that means
You can sit next to each other with a steering wheel as opposed to the,
How cool is that?
So we're going to go up into the back country with that.
Oh, so you've got it now.
Oh, yeah,
you
we got
purchased it. You trailered it home.
We got it.
So does that come with the trailer, or how does that?
No,
work?
they brought it over to the house.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
so break that puppy in.
Yeah, we'll be up in Lanedo. We'll be all over the place in that thing.
That is so neat. Were you ready to bust out our first Christmas song?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I have a song that I wrote in 2007. It's called "No Child Should Ever Cry at Christmas." I recorded it with Daryl on a Christmas album back then, and I have never played it live, honestly.
Cool.
There's a lot of songs that I've recorded I've never played live. This is one of them, and I thought, so I kind of worked it up, and I'll give it a shot. I can't guarantee what'll happen, but
Well, hey, thanks for going for it.
should we try it?
Yeah, let's try.
Okay,
Let's
here we
try.
go.
This is it.
Father Christmas, Mother Mary, bless the child on Christmas Day. Round the world, so many families, not enough to eat, but still the faith to pray. Let the holy star above shine its silver light of love and turn this world around. No child should ever cry on Christmas. No child should ever be afraid. No child should ever cry on Christmas Day. Come the morning, toys and laughter. Yeah, that's the way that it's supposed to be. May the mornings ever after bring us hope and joy, love and harmony. Let the holy star above shine its silver light of love and turn this world around. No child should ever cry on Christmas. No child should ever be afraid. No child should ever cry on Christmas Day. No child should ever cry on Christmas Day.
That, unless they're tears of joy, of course, for like a new bike or a new side by side, or just the family. You know, just the love. I think is really what it is. It's a culmination of love, and we maybe haven't seen each other for a while, and we're getting together. And sure, the gifts are great and all that, but I think just the togetherness, right? Especially because of the last couple of years.
That's right. That's what I was going to say. It's the last couple of years been challenging for everybody, but
yeah.
You know, I think we're you know. As I like to say, one of my favorite rules for my life is when you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, you're still in the tunnel. So it's not really pessimistic. It's just it's a little. You just have to be careful.
Yeah, and perceive it to be light and good, not another train coming at you.
Right, that's right. When you see that light.
Yeah. Well, Klaus likes to say, and we kicked off our series with Klaus. You know, each day is a choice. We've been given the wonderful gift of perception, and it's normal to be angry and frustrated and depressed about certain things. And I think for me, it's important to talk. You know, have people to talk to. Professionals ideally, but you know, close friends or family is part of kind of working through the things we've been through. But then again, just surrounding yourself, I think, with the love of the family, and you know, I think too, like helping people, like Haiti children. You know, talk about kids not crying at Christmas. Well, there's a lot of kids out there, you know, that are homeless, that are just, you know, living in just almost like war-torn type situations, like Haiti with the earthquakes. And you know, we showed a video last week on the show, and Susie's touring through this just rubble.
She's amazing.
And little kids in the corner.
She's
like
amazing
naked.
what she's done with Haiti. That's incredible.
For me, I think doing something, and that, you know, I don't have a lot of money, but whatever I can give to that. I mean, what would you say about that in terms of just trying to like help kids? You know.
Well, I mean, you know, there's so many issues. I think you have to be, you know, you can't spread yourself too thin. You know, you have to focus on. You know, when you can help someone locally, you know, it translates to a global thing. My wife and I tried to do something with Feeding America during the pandemic, and you know, we generated like 450,000 meals with the help of a lot of great musicians on an online concert thing that we did.
Awesome.
So, you know, you just try to pick and choose, and hopefully we can all do a little bit of good, and it all adds up to something kind of greater than the sum of its parts.
How did that make you feel? Like, how does that make you feel?
I just felt like we weren't doing enough during COVID to help. And when I realized that American families literally didn't have any food, and I could walk into a supermarket and see shelves stocked with food, I said, there's something wrong with this picture. And so we decided to connect to Feeding America, and we thought we'd do an online fundraiser, and it worked out really well.
That is so cool. I think that's just so, you know, you talk about kind of, you know, the Aspen's like this concentration of wealth and materialism and resources and all that, but what really brings happiness? Because I think all we really want at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, is just to be happy. You know, and I think, don't you agree that like helping other people is one of the sources?
Yeah, I
and
think
one of the keys to happiness?
That's what we do. That's what we have to do as humans. I mean, you know, it's sometimes we get distracted and go off on various tangents, you know. But in the end, you know, it's all about people, and it's all about, you know, trying to make our lives and the world we live in a better place.
You've had such a long career, like a legendary career of over 50 years, and like as you look back now, and it's not even close to being over, but like what are you most proud of when you look back? Whether it's, the Hall and Oates, duo, record duo of all time in terms of record sales, hits. I mean, you guys are Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, and there's that. Maybe that's not. I don't know. But you've got other, musical endeavors and enterprises and successes. But what do you kind of look back on and feel proud about and be most excited about from your music career?
The fact that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Really, it sounds,
well, that's huge.
It sounds simple,
longevity.
but the fact that I'm still able to make music, and the fact that people actually want to hear it. I mean, the fact that the music that Daryl and I made over the past 50 years still resonates with a younger generation. People still come to see us. They want to hear those songs. I could never have imagined back in the day when we wrote those songs and we were starting out that 50 years later, people would still care enough. That's a miracle to me. And so I do not take it for granted. And the fact that platform of success has allowed me to do pretty much whatever I want, especially whatever I want musically. So I can do these shows with my buddy Guthrie Trapp from Nashville, and we're going to play the Wheeler on the 29th, and I can indulge myself with playing folk music and blues and ragtime and all kinds of cool stuff. It's really, I guess it's the creative freedom that success has given me.
Well, there's so much to talk about today, but we do have a little clip that's going to give just a little intro to yourself and Guthrie Trapp.
Oh, yeah.
And your songs and stories.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and check that out here next.
All right. Everybody, I'm John Oates,
Guthrie Trapp.
and we are doing an acoustic evening of stories and songs, and we're bringing it to a theater near you.
You're damn right.
Yes, ma'am. I said, boom, with that 44.
So this guy Guthrie Trapp, he's a super guitarist, as
Well,
you call him. He's got mad skills.
He is a super guitarist. There's a lot of super guitarists in Nashville, Tennessee. Let me tell you something. If you can stand out as a guitar player in Nashville, you're saying something.
Right,
and he's right up there. He's been my friend for over 15 years. We actually met at the Telluride Bluegrass Festival. He was
Nice.
playing with Jerry Douglas, and I was playing with Sam Bush, and I was blown away by his playing, and we became friends, and we've played in various configurations of different bands over the years. Most recently in the Good Road Band, which is my Nashville band.
Love
and
it.
we toured for about 2 years with the Arkansas album. And he and I, after the Hall & Oates tour ended just recently, he and I got together and we were sitting in the living room playing 2 acoustic guitars, and we looked at each other and went, this is really cool. Why don't we just go and play this, do this? And we said, we're going to bring the living room to you. And we booked Telluride on December 27th at the Sheridan Opera House. And we've got the Wheeler on December 29th. And then we'll be at the Villar Center in Vail on February 3rd. So it's our Colorado World Tour.
So that's like the songs and stories series.
It's just the 2 of us.
It's like a little mini series.
Yeah, it's just
like
the two.
a
It's
tour.
the 2 of us. We tell stories. Anything can happen, really. But he's just a joy to play with. He's a very exciting player and very musical. And the beauty of it for me is that he's so good that I can do anything I want. If I want to play a Hall & Oates song, I play a Hall & Oates song. If I want to play an old folk song, I play an old folk song. And it doesn't matter to him. He just plays.
And he knows. He just
Well,
has this like encyclopedia of knowledge.
Well,
that
it's
he can,
interesting. He always sits on my right.
Okay.
Because he can see my hands.
Oh, so he's mimicking.
So he's watching me this way. So my guitar is turned this way. So he's watching me. So it doesn't really matter what I do.
That's
He
like
will-
next level, isn't
He
it?
will-
I mean,
he
to be
will-
able to watch someone.
Well, he knows most of the songs, but
Okay.
if I pull one out of the hat, he's cool. He goes, "Yep, let's do it." and he'll figure out a way of making it work. So it's, like I said, it's a joy to play with him, and it gives me a lot of creative freedom.
So do you have a fun story of just like a spontaneous thing that happened with Guthrie, like either personal time or you're actually performing? Is there something funny that comes to mind with this guy?
Well,
Because he sounds loaded with character.
There's a bunch. I mean, I don't know where to begin. But the other day we were playing a show in Nashville, actually kind of trying out the concept. And in the middle of the show, he started interviewing me. He started asking me all these questions. And I said, wait a minute. I said, we're doing a show. I said, are you interviewing me? And it was the funniest thing. And so, you know, anything can happen. And we leave it really loose. And, you know, I think it's fun for the audience because they get to see a show that's not, you know, overly thought out. It's not, you know, it's not this kind of prepackaged thing. It's just organic and free-flowing and, you know, whatever happens, happens.
That sounds it sounds just really like fun, casual, relaxed entertainment.
That's the
with
idea.
a couple guys hanging out with their guitars.
Bringing the living room to you.
And doing their thing. How
that's
fun
right.
is that? Yeah. Well, if we backtrack a bit into the kind of the Hall & Oates era of, again, you guys were just touring. Actually, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you were touring this summer.
Yep.
And can you tell us how many you pulled off? Over 20 shows?
We did 23 shows. We started in early August. We didn't work all the way through. We took some breaks. But we managed to get through the entire tour with no one getting sick. We had a very strict backstage protocols. Everyone got tested every day. Everyone wore masks. No guests were allowed backstage. No one was allowed backstage. And it worked until the last show. And 2 days before our last show, which was just a week ago in New York City, we got the word that our drummer and percussionist both tested positive.
Oh, geez.
So we had one more show to go, and luckily we were in New York City, and there was a pool of musicians who we had worked with over the years. And we reached out, and actually one of the guys we reached out to was a drummer, was Sean Pelton. He's the drummer on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, cool.
And he's worked with us over the years many times. He was available. He actually, the show was on Sunday. He did Saturday Night Live, Saturday night, came right to the show, and he just crushed it. And a great percussionist who had played with us previously as well. And he knew the show because he had played with us. So they jumped in, and we managed to get the final show in, and it was a beautiful thing.
And is that always good with you and Daryl? I mean, you just get back together and you've talked about he's like a brother and that you haven't seen for a while, and you guys just was that just like smooth like butter again as usual?
We just play.
Like same as it ever was kind of thing.
Play. We don't rehearse. We just play.
Is that really just like an opposites attract type thing?
It
like
is.
From the start?
We're very different as people. We have, I think, the commonality is in our love for music and our dedication to being professional and doing things at a high level. But in terms of our personalities and the way we live our lives, we're very, very different.
And you guys had that Philadelphia background, which
I
saw in a separate interview with Daryl, talking about this kind of this interracial influence, and there's no real separation with white music and black music, and kind of brought that soulful Philadelphia interracial aspect into it too, right?
Back in the 60s, 50s and 60s, you know, the professional music business was very integrated. You know, you go into a recording session, it would be black and white players playing together all the time. It became a little bit more separated in the 70s when, you know, during the Black Power movement, and there was a lot more social, you know, things that happened that kind of caused things to polarize.
Right.
But we grew up in a period of time, and that's how I think of music. I don't think about music in terms of color or race or anything like that. To me, it's just, you know, can you play? Can you sing? Can you write? And I don't care what you look like or where you came from.
Who are some of those role models? You know, whether they're black, white, or you know, in between.
Well, I go back. You know, I mean, I'm old enough to actually remember music before rock and roll, which is interesting, I guess.
Well, you're like a music historian too.
Well, and I'm old enough.
Aficionado.
You know, my parents were from the World War II generation, so I grew up listening to big band music, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, you know, Lionel Hampton, things like that. But then when rock and roll happened in the early 50s, I was aware of it, and it was a sea change. It was a cataclysmic change. Sure. And I remember hearing rock and roll on the radio for the first time, and I was like, okay, this is something else. And then when when I was 4 or 5, I think I was 5, I saw Bill Haley and the Comets playing it at our local amusement park.
Oh my God.
And I went down to the front of the stage. The stage was only probably as high as your desk. And I was, shit, I'm still that high.
Just enough to get up over the top and see the guys.
But I remember I ran down to the front of the stage and I saw Bill Haley and the Comets. And the thing that I remember the most was the bass player had a big upright bass, a big double bass.
Oh, yeah.
And he put it on its side and rode it like a horse. And, I was 5 years old. I was like, that's what I want to do.
Is that cool or
I'm
what?
going to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So, I go way back. So early rock and roll, Chuck Berry's one of my heroes. I think he's one of the greatest lyricists in the history of rock and roll, without a doubt. I loved Elvis. But then, moving up into the folk revival in the early 60s, people like Doc Watson, Mississippi John Hurt, they were heroes of mine, Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee. And then, Curtis Mayfield was a huge influence on me from the fact that back in the day when R&B singers, most R&B singers were either singers or they sang with a band, with a backing vocal group.
Okay.
Like the Temptations, the Miracles.
Right.
But Curtis Mayfield played guitar and sang at the same time, which was very rare for an R&B singer. Oh, and he played a Fender Jaguar, and I wanted one of those. And so people always ask me about my guitar style, and I always say, Chuck Berry, Doc Watson, Mississippi John Hurt, and Curtis Mayfield. And I don't think I play as good as any of them, but if you blended them all together, that's kind of how I play.
Wow, that's a lot of talent there, and a lot of different styles.
Yeah,
it's like a melting pot.
Well, like I said, there's no boundaries in music for me. I don't look at music in terms of styles and genres. It's just, it's a cliche, but there's only two kinds of music: good and bad.
Right. It's kind of how it makes you feel too, right?
And it's subjective. Everyone has their own opinion about that.
Yeah, and how you feel, right? Yeah. When you hear a song,
it's got to reach you somehow, and that's what people always ask. What is soul music? Well, soul music is music that touches you, that moves you. It moves you emotionally or physically. That's what soul is really about. It's not the domain of race or style or any one people. It's really a music that is emotionally charged and that touches the true essence of the soul.
What about today's musicians? Is there someone out there? I'm sure there's
so many
people that you're impressed by, that are role models.
There's so many. People are making great pop music today. It's a lot of it's made by committee, written by a committee. Yeah. If you look at a lot of the current pop songs, they're written by 6, 7, 8 people sometimes. And technology is basically part and parcel of the writing process. All the new digital technologies that are available. So it's interesting. It's not my world, but I appreciate it. I always love a good pop song. So
do you like Ed Sheeran or any of these guys?
Ed Sheeran's fantastic. I love Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
I like the Black Pumas. Miley Cyrus is fantastic. There's so many people.
Well, you wrote, some people might not know this, but a Maneater was initially like a reggae edition or a reggae version.
Yeah.
You guys tweaked that and obviously changed it quite a bit, but is there someone in reggae that comes to mind?
Well, sure. I was a huge Bob Marley fan.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's the man for
who's
me.
Who's not?
Yeah.
He was so important to music in general, and his social consciousness. And feel good. It was just feel good music.
Bob touched the soul. It's just between the words and the bass, of the reggae sounds like the heartbeat, right? It's like your heartbeat itself.
No, it's the real thing.
And so Maneater, that's an interesting one. Because, again, there's different,
I had come back from a trip to Jamaica. And I had it in my head, hearing it constantly. As a musician and as a songwriter, you can't help but be influenced by the things around you. Right. And so it was in my head. So when I came back, I got the idea for Maneater, started writing it, and I wrote it as a reggae song. I was like, oh, here she comes. Watch out, boys, they're gonna chew you up. Then, oh, here she comes. That's a man. That's how I wrote it.
I love it.
And then I got together with Daryl and said, nah. He said, Daryl in his infinite wisdom said, it's not going to be a hit if we do it as a reggae song. I went, all right, what do you got in mind? And he came up with, the groove. And so we wrote it actually much more in a kind of Motown feel.
Wow. Well, obviously you guys were the team, are the team. You have that, I said in the last show, special sauce. You've got that special, magic between you. And what's like next for you guys? I mean, you have anything in the works?
We're going to take. I think we're going to take 22 and see what happens. Everyone who didn't tour in 2020 and 2021 is going to try to tour in 2022.
Right.
So there's going to be a kind of a flood in the marketplace, so to speak, without sounding too corporate. And I think we'll tour. We'll play some shows, but I don't think we're going to do a big tour or anything like that. Okay. I actually want to continue playing these acoustic shows with Guthrie. Yeah. So we're going to be doing a lot of that, and going around the country playing that, having fun.
Neat. Well, back to Christmas, because hey, it's happening this Saturday.
Back to Christmas.
I mean, this is it. Christmas in Aspen, Colorado. Yeah, it's like one of the best places to be in the world.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So, do you have something in mind for us?
I do. I've got my Christmas repertoire, because you only get to play Christmas songs once a year.
This is it.
So you got to, you put them away, and then around November, you start going, God, did I remember that song? So I've got one of my favorites is a Christmas gospel song that I heard for the first time by the Five Blind Boys from Alabama.
Okay.
But it's been done by many other people. It's called Children Go Where I Send Thee.
Okay.
Children, go where I send thee. How should I send thee? One for the little bitty baby, born of the Virgin Mary. I said, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How should I send thee? Two for Paul and Silas. One for a little bitty baby, born of the Virgin Mary. Said born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How should I send thee? Three for the Hebrew children, two for Paul and Silas. One for the little bitty baby, born of the Virgin Mary. I said born in Bethlehem. Go where I send thee. How should I send thee? 444 who stood at the door. 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas. 1 for the little bitty baby, born of the Virgin Mary. I said born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How should I send thee? 5 for the 5 should stay alive. 4 for the 4 stood at the door. 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas. 1 for the little bitty baby, born of the Virgin Mary. I said born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How should I send thee?
Yeah, I love that. That's a really different Christmas song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got kind of a gospel style.
Yeah.
So, were you a church-going guy, like during Christmas holiday or during the year?
Not if I didn't have
or
to.
both? Christmas Catholic, we used to call ourselves.
Yeah. Well, that was my mom. My mom was a Christmas Catholic, but she made me go more often than her. So.
So how will you celebrate this year? Like coming up on Saturday,
stay
you've
home.
got the family.
Stay home.
So you've got your son and your wife.
I travel so much, and our son lives in East Coast, and so we don't get to see him that often. And you know, my dad is 98 and he can't travel. He's in Pennsylvania. I just visited him recently.
Wow.
And my mom's not around anymore. So so it's the three of us, and we're just going to enjoy being home together and making lasagna.
There you go. There you have it.
Yeah.
Going for a ride in the side-by-side.
That's right. You might take it out.
That's cool. Well, 98, that
Yeah.
bodes well for you.
He's still kicking,
with the
and my
longevity.
sister lives near him in Pennsylvania. So they'll be spending time together and stuff. So.
Okay. So Klaus is 102
I know.
and still skiing.
Klaus is my hero.
So I
on.
know, isn't he?
I mean,
He's
really,
just got to be
best.
one of the ultimate role models.
He's
right?
incredible. He is incredible.
So-
He's got that smile and, you know, that joy of life, and, you know, boy.
His spirit is undeniable. The sparkle in his eye, the
Mm-hmm. I know.
life energy,
Incredible,
the
right?
positivity, the life force,
Yeah.
whatever you want. So he still operates Sport Obermeyer at 102.
That's right.
He's still skiing regularly. He swims every day.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, framing this question, how long do you think you're going to go with your music career? Now, saying Klaus is 102, that's the
Yep,
bar.
Yep.
And, you know, you're quite a bit younger than that.
I am.
So what's the goal there?
My goal is to go out walking. I kind of stopped downhill skiing. I was a telemark skier for many, many years and just loved it. You know, I was a 100-day skier.
Wow.
But I had a bunch of injuries and, you know, 2 shoulder reconstructions, among other things that we don't need to go into.
Okay.
And I just thought, you know, in terms of me being able to play my instrument and, you know, I had to be a little bit more sensible and cautious as I've gotten older. So like I said, that's why I've just basically fell in love with Nordic skiing now. You know, the likelihood of me hitting a tree while skate skiing is about that much.
Yeah, you know, they got a pretty good, you know, wide, groomed, you know, trees are usually a little ways away.
Yeah, and
you have to catch an edge and really...
And you know, the chance of me getting taken out by another skier or a snowboarder is probably that much.
Right.
So I think I'm safe.
So you're just going to go as long as you can go,
Yes.
as long as you're still walking.
That's right.
Breathing, singing, able to move your
Yep.
digits and
There you
play
go.
the guitar and all
That's
that.
my goal in life.
So then why should there be an end run? Like, why is there a retirement? Like, when you love what you do.
I don't even know what that word means.
Exactly.
To me, living is living. If you're not living, you're not living. So, you know, no, I don't understand retirement. That's not a concept that's totally foreign to me.
It's like if you, like Klaus, he's like, why would I ever want to retire and stop working when I love it so much? And it's
Of course.
simple as that. Like, if you
course.
love it, you want to keep
It's
doing
a
it.
company that he built from nothing. I mean,
incredible.
he's a pioneer, you know.
Well, it's like you're like this 50-year mark, and it's unbelievable, and I'm coming up to now 20 years for the local show, but then you talk 75 years for Obermeyer, 50 years for GrassRoots. I mean, these are astounding examples of longevity, what you can do when you love it, when you're passionate.
That's right.
And you keep yourself healthy, right? We got to keep the base healthy.
When do I start rolling those cookies?
Pretty soon. We're counting down. They are, I'd like to say, even our junk food in Aspen is organic.
Yes, that's right. It's healthy.
So organic chocolate chip cookies.
Yes, it is. And I'll keep telling myself that as I shove them in my mouth.
So the name of the show is Songs and Stories.
Yeah.
And what, like, a lot of fans want to know, like myself, you know, rock star for all these years, you know, these concerts, these women throwing whatever up on the stage, you know, undergarments, you name it. Is there a story, perhaps, that you have not told either during or after a concert, maybe with a very excitable fan? This is a family show. I'll interject that in parentheses. That you could tell just a concert.
Eric, where are you going with this?
I just want a story, man, a rock star story.
Well, come to the Wheeler. You'll hear all kinds of stories.
There's got to be one that's kind of more G-rated.
Dude,
that
there's so many stories.
just-
I mean, we did the craziest things. I mean, you have to remember, you know, in the 80s when we were at the top of the world of pop, it was a crazy time. I mean, if you know, just the world, and especially being in New York City at the time, that's where I lived at the time. And, you know, if you saw the movie Wolf of Wall Street, it looked very extreme. It actually wasn't that extreme. That was actually happening. It wasn't that much of an exaggeration in that movie. Right. So, you know, it was crazy. There was a lot of excess, let's put it that way. Luckily, I think I avoided most of it, which was good. But we had weird things happen. We got robbed at gunpoint on our first Australian tour.
Oh, geez.
Daryl and I, we played our first show, I think it was Melbourne, And after the show, they held a restaurant open for us. Went into the restaurant. It was Daryl, myself, our tour manager, our bass player, and his girlfriend. And we were sitting at a table, and the restaurant was empty. There was another table with the chef and his wife and another couple. And into the restaurant comes this guy with a ski mask and a shotgun.
Oh my gosh.
And starts screaming, throw your money down. I want to. And we were like, we thought it was a joke because we had just gotten to Australia, and we thought maybe they, the record company had staged something or some, we had
Crazy
no idea.
Aussies, yeah.
And we realized it was actually real, and it was the craziest thing. So he started running around the restaurant, and he went over to the table where the chef and the other couple were, and he looked into the woman's handbag. And when he did, the chef grabbed him, punched him in the head. He fell backwards. We all charged him and threw him through a plate glass window. Wow. And then I remember putting my foot on his wrist with the gun. And about that time, the wait staff and the kitchen staff had called the cops. They came up the steps and they arrested him. And we were like in all the newspapers, and it was like a big deal.
But you guys basically made a citizen's arrest. Like you apprehended the guy.
We
held
captured
him.
the Rusty Gun Bandit, he was known as.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, right?
So, did you ever go back to Australia after such an experience?
Oh, yeah, I love Australia.
Yeah, because the people are incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, at least the ones I've met that come to Aspen, they're like fun-loving.
It's a great place.
They almost remind me of, and you could probably speak to this way better than myself, but the Brazilians, the Australians, they have this kind of like, I don't know, as living la vida loca if you're, from South America. But they have this like fun like outlook on life. They live like very enthusiastically and big. I mean,
well, Australia is an outdoors country. It's people spend a lot of time at the beach, outdoors. It's all about, and same with New Zealand. That's what I've always loved about New Zealand and Australia. Everybody's outdoorsy and healthy, and you know. So I understand why the connection to Aspen makes perfect sense.
And then they have this like zest for life because, or maybe it's, that drives them to the outdoors, or it's because of the outdoors. I'm sure it's all interrelated, right? And like how we ended the show with Klaus, is any closing thoughts, Klaus? I just gave him an open-ended question. He's like, just go out into nature. Just enjoy it. Just go outside and enjoy it. Listen to the birds. He loves to talk about the birds chirping and the rabbits, bunnies hopping. And I mean, he's just like this childlike, amazement with nature. Yeah. And I think if we just go out and spend more time in nature, that would be so good for all of us, wouldn't it?
I agree.
Yeah, so we have time for one more song.
We do.
And it's going to be a special one.
Well, we do. We have to finish with the Christmas song.
And some people might not know what the Christmas song is.
The Christmas song was written by a guy named Mel Torme, and he was known as mostly as a singer. He was known as the Velvet Fog because he had this very smooth, velvety voice. But he wrote this song, and it is for me, it's the epitome of Christmas songs. There's something about it. It's a very challenging song to play, and I hope I make it through. So
you will.
I'll do my best. But
sending you good holiday vibes right now.
I made it a challenge to myself to learn it because I just loved it so much. And the sad part is you only get to play it once a year. But anyway, the Christmas song, Mel Torme. So.
Love it.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's bringing lots of toys and every mother's child. Yeah, they're gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering a simple phrase. Kids from 1 to 92. Though it's been said many times, many ways, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you.
I love that. Thank you for doing that.
Couldn't help
Now I'm filled with Christmas.
Throw a little jingle bells in at the end, just for a little extra.
Oh my gosh! Then it's the undisputed
The Christmas
song.
Absolutely.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, we're down to our last couple minutes, and I guess I want to leave it open-ended to you. Like, what would you like to share with our viewers online? We have a live audience on YouTube and Facebook.
I would just say that I wish everyone peace and happiness and health in the coming year, and let's all try to be smart and help each other and get through some very challenging times and look ahead to a brighter future.
I appreciate that. That is awesome. That is awesome. Did you have fun on the local show today?
You're the best.
Oh, you're the best. I just get to ride the energy.
Listen, Eric, I have to be honest with you. The only reason I came was for the cookies. So
thank you for being.
Let's
bring back honesty. I love it. I love it.
You know, musicians like to play for their supper, right?
Right.
in this case, I'm playing for my dessert.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I really appreciate you. In all
Thank you.
seriousness.
Same here, man.
As a musician, as a man, as a friend.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So thanks so much for being here.
All right.
You made my Christmas.
It's great. Count on me next year, too.
Oh, I appreciate
Let's
that.
make it a date.
I'll
All
take
right.
you up on that.
You got it, man.
All right. Thank you, John Oates. And thank you, guys. Merry
Bye.
Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.